So let me quickly take you. Now remember, there are three things I tell people that you need to remember in a debate. Three things. And these three are absolute cornerstones to success. Because usually what happens is a lot of people get foxed by a debate. So debate is not the way that people look at it as. Number one, a debate is not a table topic. And number two, a debate is not a speech. And number three, debates are not wherein you can be, wherein you can take it lightly. Why do I say this? Number one, debates do not, I'm saying again, debates do not encompass personal stories. So keep the personal stories out. Why? Very simple reason. Somebody's personal story may be an exception to that person, may not be my story. So personal stories don't sell in debates. Number two, every point that you put up should be devoid of any form of emotion. Yes, you heard me right. Any point that you put up should be devoid of any form of emotion. Debates do not actually buy any form of emotion. And number three, which is critical, is that any statement or any point you put up, it has to be backed with two things: reference to that particular point in the form of statistics or data, and number two, you need to have a solid rationale, a solid logic as to why you're making that point. So that means every time there is somebody who's making a point, you need to ensure you have solid logic towards it. Now, having said that, you start with your debate. So you have a motion on the floor. Now, a motion is usually an affirmative statement on which you can take two sides. So for example, something like what we had yesterday, privacy is more important than security. So I can easily take two sides. I can either say privacy is more important or security is more important. So it's a very clear statement, a judgmental affirmative statement, right? So once you have that motion on the floor, it is now for the debate to begin. When the debate begins, you'll have two teams. You have a team which is going for the topic, also known as the affirmation team, and you have a team going against a topic, which is also known as the opposition team. So each of these teams are built up or constructed of three members. Now, this three-member constitution is a very Toastmasters form of a team. So ideally, debates are either one, two, or many. You do not have three members. It's very rare that you have three members. Even when the first Toastmasters handbook came out, I remember it was a team of four that was constituted. And because the debate went into about 35 minutes, they said if we take out one speaker, we will save about 3 to 4 minutes. That is 3 plus 3, 6 minutes, about 7 minutes, and then we can bring it down to 25 minutes. And that's how the concept of three came in. However, in the Toastmasters fraternity, how does the debate work? So you have the first speaker from both the teams who is said to be the opening speaker coming and opening the statement or giving their opening statements, let's build the case. The second speaker is the person who comes and rebuts or possibly opposes all the points that have been put up by the opening speaker from the opposition team. And the third speaker is a summary speaker who will come and summarize what the team has said. Now, this is in a nutshell. How does a Toastmaster, so how does it flow? Now, what we need to understand is there are many forms of debates. Now, this is one form wherein the case is built, you rebut, and then close. This is the most rudimentary, or must I say primitive form of debating. There is one more level to this wherein you have the case being put up, then you have a rebuttal. The speaker who put up the case will come back and possibly come and rebut the rebuttal with facts and figures, because sometimes the rebuttal will say something and go away, and then the opening speaker does not have anything to come and authenticate he or she on what they stood. The third type is a cross-examination debate. So you have the opening speaker who is coming. So before the rebuttal asks the opening speaker questions and then rebut the points. The summary speaker will come, ask the rebuttal some questions, and then rebut those points with a summary, and then the debate goes back to the opener, and the opener will actually ask questions to the summary and then close it. So that is a different form of a debate. It's known as a cross-questioning debate. Now, usually these debates do not happen with Toastmasters except for 1 or 2 clubs. Though at this point in time, there is only one form that we follow, and that is the conventional method, which is there at this point in time. So how does it work? You have the opening speaker from the affirmative team who will come and place the motion in the house and tell us why they feel that they are for the motion. The motion flows over to the against team. The opening speaker comes up there, states the motion and tells us, gives us the reason as to why they are against the motion. The motion stays with the against team. The rebuttal speaker has already heard the opening speaker from the proposition team, has had 3 minutes to prepare. So he or she would come and rebut the points of the opening speaker from the proposition team. Then the debate flows over to the proposition time, wherein the rebuttal speaker from the proposition team will rebut the points of the opening speaker from the opposition team, because he or she has got 3 minutes to prepare once the speech has been heard. The motion flows over and goes to the summary speaker of the opposition team, where he or she summarizes the entire debate of the opposition. This motion flows over to the proposition team. The speaker will from here summarize what has been spoken by the speakers from the proposition team. And that's when the debate closes. Now, this is where we need to understand that the opening statement and the closing statement is always with the proposition team. So that means if you are a little sharp as a proposition team, you have that edge because you are opening and you are the last people to be heard. So ideally, if you are for a topic, you have that little edge over the people who are speaking against. And believe me, it's easier, rather about 70 or 80% easier always to counter a topic than to stand for a topic, because standing for a topic is usually a practice, something that you're doing day to day, and countering that is very easy. So what happens is, that is where the proposition team needs to be a little smarter and ensure that their arguments and the way they conduct themselves is a little sharper as compared to the team which is from the opposition. So this is, you cannot, there is this has, you have to live with this form of a risk, because there's no other way out. Now, what is the preparation and what is the key to preparing? The number one is strategy. So what is the strategy that you need to adopt? Here is where I must tell you, the first thing is you need to build up a case. So how do you build up a case? So you build up a case. This is for all the speakers, whether it is the opening, rebuttal, or the summary. You state your team's position first of all. Identify the main points that you're going to be presenting. Present them with statistics, with data, with reference points. Do not have more than 3 to 4 points in your speech because you do not have the time. Restate your point and close the debate. This is not only for the opening speaker, this is the same for the rebuttal speaker and for the summary speaker. So if I'm the opening speaker, what should I do? First of all, state the motion, explain what is our stand and what is the reason we are taking that stand. Give a primary example, support it with a secondary example, support it with a tertiary example, support it even with a fourth example. But remember, all these examples should have a certain amount of meaning coming out, which is tying to the topic. Link it to the motion in the end and close strongly. So this is what ideally an opening speaker should do. So just 3 or 4 things. State the motion, define the keywords, 1 example, 2 example, 3 example, 4 examples, close the debate, state the motion again, and close the debate strongly. So ideally 8 points is what the opening speaker needs to do. Now, when it comes to rebuttal, what should a rebuttal speaker ideally do? Remember, a rebuttal speaker needs to shut his or her ears when the opening speaker of your team is speaking. The reason is that you are supposed to listen to the points from the opposition team's opening speaker. You are not supposed to be listening to anything else. And if you are the rebuttal speaker from the for team, you're going to be listening to points from the rebuttal from the against team. Remember not to rebut those points. Sometimes smart judges understand that a rebuttal from the for team will smartly possibly rebut the points of the rebuttal speaker from the against team, and they will very cheekily mark you down. So it's very important that you rebut the points only spoken by the for team's opening speaker or against team's opening speaker. Please do not rebut the rebuttal. This is number one. Never get into or never have a position wherein your emotion gets the better of you. Because once you get emotional, then there are three things that will happen. Your brain stops functioning. That's the first thing. Second, you lose control on what you're going to be saying. So you usually get into blabbering. And third, very importantly, you might just say something which will get typecasted as a personal attack or can be construed as something which is taboo. So be careful of what you're speaking. And this is the most important three things for a rebuttal speaker. Reason is that rebuttal speakers cannot prepare. You are in the most volatile or liquid form of the debate. You have to understand and maneuver and possibly flow according to how the opposition has put up its points. Therefore, keep in mind, please do not lose your emotions. Don't let the emotions get the better of you. Be very careful with the words that you speak, and remember not to at any point in time get into personal attack or into anything that borders taboo. So what should a rebuttal speaker do? Pick up 2 or 3 points from the opposition. Spell out the argument very clearly that has been spoken and rebut it with your points. Focus only on the points that have been spoken by the opening speaker from the opposite team. Do not rebut any other points and do not bring in new points. Restate the motion in the end, your stand, and close it. This is ideally the method of rebutting your opposition speakers. Then we come into summary. This is one of the most important parts of a debate. Usually summary speakers are just brushed away. The reason why they brush away summary speakers is saying, okay, the summary speaker has very little time and it'll get over in a jiffy. So let's forget about the summary speaker. No. The summary speaker is as important as the opening and the rebuttal speaker, because he or she has got 50% of their speech, which is purely dynamic. So they play a more specialized field. So let me give you an example. Now, the opening speaker would have had his or her speech. So the summary speaker can pick up that speech and be ready with what to say about the summary speaker. But the rebuttal speaker, what he or she is going to speak, if you are not here, you don't know. You just hear it out. You cannot predict what the rebuttal speaker is going to speak, right? So automatically, you are in a state of, must I say, nirvana, where you are going to get that amount of enlightenment from your rebuttal speaker. So amazingly important, the summary speaker has to be attentive. You have to listen very carefully, and the person should be extremely good with creative thinking. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be merging to a certain amount of solid drawn conclusions from your opening speech and a little bit of hearing from your rebuttal speaker, and that is the summary speaker speech. So how does the summary speaker start? State the motion, summarize the main points that have been spoken by the opening speaker, summarize the points spoken by the rebuttal speaker. Do not introduce any points, no new points. A lot of these summary speakers think that you can slip in a few new points. No, judges are smart. They've noted down what are the main points spoken by the opening and the rebuttal speaker. And if you bring in a new point, they know it. Restate a motion. Ask for that vote. You have to ask for that vote. Ask for that vote and then close strongly. Do not miss out on asking for the vote and closing strongly. This is how your judge's ballot looks. You have 70% for content and 30% for delivery. So under content is structure, organization, supporting material. I told you in the beginning itself, it's very important that you have enough amount of data and references. That's when your supporting works. Stating the motion, having those 3 or 4 examples is all about organization and structure. When it comes to ideas, logic, conviction, and believability is purely how you are putting up your case, how smartly are you putting up your statistics, and how well are you making the audience believe that yes, you have that amount of conviction in the topic. Team coordination, ensure that we are all on the same page. The opening remarks, I usually believe that either a quote or statistics or an anecdote sell, so use that. And conclusion should be very strong. For all the speakers, the conclusion should be immensely strong. Rebuttal, we'll come to that a little later. Now, in terms of delivery, voice and volume and flexibility is how well are you being heard. Directness is how fast are you attacking the topic. Don't beat around the bush. You beat around the bush, judges hate it, and you're losing time. And word selection, grammar, punctuation is only 10 points. So that means if a speaker is able to get 70 points, you ideally win, because the team will straight away get 210 points. So remember, it's not about how well you are able to use words. It's about how well you are able to communicate your idea. So I told you, it's not a table topic or a speech. There's no points on grammar. It's only 10 points. So remember to put up a solid idea and communicate it well. Communicating well doesn't mean you have good English. Communicating well is have data, have reference points, have those statistics in place. Last but not the least is the time. So for the opening speaker, you have 2 minutes green. This is I don't know if this is how your division is going to follow, but at 2 minutes you'll have green. At 2.5 you'll have amber. 3 minutes red with a 10-second grace, when the timer will mute the speaker. If it was a face-to-face contest, you would have had somebody clapping and the speaker would be muted. The same applies to the rebuttal speaker. For the closing speaker, 1 minute green, 1 minute 30 seconds amber, 2 minutes red with a 10-second grace. This is how a debate happens. So it's not about only team, it's not about a single person's work, it's also about teamwork. Teamwork and single person's work is what will help you win a debate. Over to you for questions, and then we take it from there. President, do we have time for question and answers? Do you want to have question and answers now? You want to get into the debate?
We have, yeah. We've kept 5 minutes for question and answer session.
So timer, you'll give me a hard stop at 5. Give me a green at 3 and 4 amber. Any questions?
I have a question here. Usually, what is the best practice for preparing a debate in terms of?
Okay, so are you asking me in terms of a prepared debate or an unprepared debate?
A debate as well as unprepared, both the.
So prepared debate, ideally you have the topic in advance. So read through the topic, understand which are the keywords, research on those keywords, study well, pick up data from renowned houses, so possibly the United Nations or WHO, World Economic Forum, you have the various governments, you have the various institutes, you have Harvard Business Review. So pick up data and inferences from here. Number two is, very importantly, remember you should not have too many words, don't have too many points. 3 examples at the most, 4 examples, have that. Number 3, define the motion and explain the keywords. So pick up Merriam-Webster's dictionary or a Collins dictionary. It could be any dictionary, but state the motion and define the keywords. Number 4 is start with something which is amazingly good, which people want to listen to. A lot of speakers start with debate moderator, judges, my fellow Toastmasters. Today's motion is so and so. Come on, that is dry. If you watch a movie, usually you have a trailer, a prelude to the movie, and then you have the names coming in, and then you have the movie. So follow that. That gives that extra edge. People know you have done your study well. Last not the least, 5th point is, please remember, when you are preparing for a debate, the opening speaker's speech should be not only the opening speaker's responsibility, also the rebuttal and the closing speaker's responsibility. Why? Reason is very simple. You know what is coming. All of you all know exactly what's the subject, and you will have coordination, which is straight away 30 points on the judge's sheet. This is where I must tell you, when we get into unprepared debates, when you're given that 15 minutes, 20 minutes to prepare, I have worked with various debate teams. When they are put into that breakout room and the topic is given, what people do, the opening speaker will prepare his own speech. The rebuttal speaker is working on his or her own research. The summary speaker is working on his or her own summary speech. In the process, what do? Is they try and bring everything together. It's harder to combine 3 things in the end than to work on one and take out 3 copies. So ideally, when you are in an unprepared debate, when you get into that breakout room, all of you should put your head in making that opening speech. Spend 10 minutes, if it is 15 minutes, 10 minutes on the opening speech, 5 minutes on the summary speech. When you are working on this, you as a rebuttal speaker have researched, because you know you're getting points, you are ready for your own rebuttal. This is how I have worked with my teams. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you to DTM Hariharan for a great valuable answer. Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
DTM Hariharan, there are many times we have seen the rebuttal or even the summary speaker coming in with some new points in some different fashion, maybe in the form of a quote, opening quote or something like that. Is that allowed?
Okay. So what happens, Mini, is this is where so yesterday we had the Division P debate, and I was on the lucky side to have made it beyond the lines yesterday. So when we had our topic, it used to happen that the opening speaker used to have a quote. I, as a rebuttal speaker, had my own quote, and my summary speaker, or our summary speaker, had his or her own quote. The thing was that even though there were 3 different quotes, they were tying to the same message. That is allowed. But if you have a quote which is not tying to the message and are not able to connect to it, judges will latch onto it in no time. And that's when you get marked down. So the easiest way, so a lot of teams ask me this, the easiest way is, if the opening speaker is starting with a quote, or is starting with the statistics, or is starting with possibly an anecdote, all 3 can use the same and continue with it. So you're not running the risk of bringing in any new point.
Okay, thank you.
I think we run into a red. You want to take the questions further, or you want to do the debate now? I leave it to you. Mr. President.
If the questions are over, then we can move into the debate session. Anyone has any questions? I think it's over. We can
I
move
think
into,
more questions will come after the debate is over.
yeah.
Right. Okay, then we do that.
Yeah, then let's move on to the mock debate, right? You're completed, right? Okay.
I
Thank
have
you.
my pencil which I need the most. That's enough.
Thank you so much. Toastmasters and distinguished guests, let's have a big round of applause for DTM Hariharan for giving such an insightful and interesting
Thank you.
education session on that. And it will definitely help our both club members to for well participation in the club contest. Now we are moving to the most exciting mock debate contest. We have two teams here, GOC and ECC. To moderate this mock debate, we have a passionate Toastmaster who's been a Toastmaster for past 4 years, living in Dubai, UAE for 15 years, a member of Godson Toastmasters Club and CMA Toastmasters Club, is an analytics and insight professional at Etisalat, is a passionate singer, we all know him. And so without a further ado, let us welcome a debate moderator, Toastmaster Salahuddin.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jasim, for the great introduction. Good evening to you all. Hope all of you enjoyed the session with DTM Hariharan. Now we are going to enjoy once again with our debaters. Now, for me, the debate is something like I heard even before, but it's something like something is right or something is wrong. Even the people in the team are personally against some subject, but they are talking on behalf of that subject. We are seeing that thing and all. For me, the personal experience is something like if I would have joined in Toastmasters even before my schooling, I will not be getting punished like not for doing homework or any other assignments in which school teacher or my parents had assigned to me. A simple example I'll tell you, like if my mother asked me, like, have you completed your homework? I will tell no immediately and I will be getting punished. So if I would have joined in Toastmasters, I would have said like in such a way, like I went to pharmacy to buy medicine for grandpa, and I went to grocery. After that, I just reached now, and it's about it took me around half an hour, and for the pharmacy because there was a big queue, and she got convinced, and finally she will not be punishing me. And then at the same time, we can convince our teachers, like saying that we were having enough guests in the home and we were not able to study well. And that's why I was unable to answer you. It's all about convincing others. So let's go to the debate now. Hope all of you are ready. I'll just read out few rules about the timing mechanism and the flow of the event. First of all, the timer, please note, we have 3 speakers from each group. The first speaker will be opening speaker, then rebuttal, then summation speaker. The first 3 members, first 2 members on each group will get 3 minutes. Okay, the summation speaker will get 2 minutes, and the light mechanism is for 3 minutes peak, it will be like 2 minutes green light, 2.5 minutes amber light, and at the third minute, it will be red light. For the summation speaker, it is 1 minute green, 1.5 minute amber, and 2 minutes red light. All the speakers will be getting a 10-second grace time. After that, please mute the speaker by the timer. The timer, please, the Zoom master, please give the timer for the to access the speakers to mute them. Zoom master, if you can put Chamin as
Yes, given.
forward now.
Yes, given.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Toastmaster Chamin, are you okay with that? Can you confirm?
Yes, yes, it's confirmed. I will do that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now I will introduce the team members. For the team we have today is for Team GOC will stand for the motion. The opening speaker is Toastmaster Nishad. The rebuttal speaker is Toastmaster Haris. And the closing speaker is Toastmaster Shafiq. Toastmaster Unikrishnan, right? Toastmaster Unikrishnan. And for the team against, it is from the team GOC. The opening speaker is Toastmaster Ramsi. The rebuttal speaker is
ECC,
Toastmaster
right?
Shuaib. Yeah, team ECC. So the rebuttal speaker is Toastmaster Shuaib. And the closing speaker is Toastmaster Shafiq. Please give them a big round of applause. Now the topics for today's debate is, who are the better teacher, men or women? Who are the better teacher, men or women? Now, today we have our chief judge or the trainer for the debate session, DTM Hariharan. DTM Hariharan will be evaluating the entire session and will be giving a feedback at the end of the debate. DTM Hariharan, can you confirm that we can go ahead with the debate? Thank you very much. So let's start. I would like to invite Toastmaster Nishad to speak for the topic, who are better teacher, men or women? Toastmaster Nishad, the stage is yours.
Donald Miller, the famous CEO of BusinessMadeSimple.com, stated that without a positive male role model in your life, it is an extremely difficult to become a man who benefits his family and benefits society. Fellow Toastmasters, debate moderator, and guest, very good evening. Male teachers play an important role in the future of education. Men play a critical part in improving education systems when they become teachers. In a profession where women are the majority, male teachers diversify the education workforce and make a significant impact as role models for children. In a school around the world and spanning all age groups, male teachers are viewed as having positive influence in classroom. They are often role models for many students where the male parent may not be present due to social or economic reasons. This gender disparity in the teaching profession is unfortunate because it is critically important for young boys to see positive male role models in their lives. By modeling these character traits, male teachers can shape their students' ethical compass and might even inspire them to become teachers themselves. While women teachers are the right fit at the primary level, in higher class, male teachers are preferred to better discipline the students. Women are naturally equipped with the skills to handle junior kids and better understand their emotions needs. Finally, and more broadly, the presence of male teachers may help promote alternative, non-violent, and gender-equitable versions of masculinity by working in roles that are typically viewed as appropriate only for women. Men can help to break down the polarized differences that foster gender inequalities. From above all the points, I strongly support the motion that male teachers are inevitable for the society and obviously benefit our education. Male teachers are more active compared to female teachers. Teaching is the greatest act of optimism. So we strongly state that male teachers are good teachers in the world. Over to you, debate moderator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nishad. We'll have 30 seconds for DTM Hariharan to note down his own points.
You can go ahead.
Thank you, DTM Hariharan. Now to speak about against the topic, let's welcome the opening speaker of the Team ECC, Toastmaster Ramsey.
In the present global education scenario, schools are expected to
Toastmaster Ramsey, you are sorry to interrupt. Your voice is not clear.
Qualities of which the effective teachers form the. Am I audible enough now?
Right now it's okay. You can continue.
Okay.
I think let us start from beginning. Timings.
Okay. May I start? In the present global educational scenario, schools are expected to provide more information on the educational qualities of which the effective teachers. The importance of a teacher in the educational process is unquestionable, and when it comes to the gender of it, we stand against the motion of men are better teachers, and we stand with the norm of that women are better teachers. Why? Point number one, I can say that women teachers have the better understanding of children. Ability to understand students' mental and emotional needs make women a better choice for teachers in primary schools. They have a better understanding of child psychology. Not just teachers, women are also good counselors. Availability of women teachers in school brings a sense of security among children when they step out of their comfort zone. Even women teachers focus on a child's holistic developments. Further, making a strong route for children to become better in higher grades is the contribution given by women teachers. Almost universally, there are more female teachers at lower grades. Across all regions of the world, income levels and time spans, there are more female teachers at primary level than secondary level, and more at secondary level than tertiary level. What this means is, although the percentage of women teachers is low in the upper grades, they make a significant impact on the ability of students to study. Women teachers are important for gender equality. According to an article published by the Center for Global Development, female teachers are important for education system and for gender equality. Evidence suggests that female teachers may increase girls' test scores and their likelihood of staying in school, heighten their aspirations, and lower their likelihood of being subject to violence. In fact, the teacher labor market is important for women as in some countries, teaching is one of the few highly skilled professions that is accessible to women. Last, kindness versus strictness. Female teachers are better teachers. Why? Because most of us believe them to be calm and cool by nature. They can deal with patience with the students, as well as students too feel comfortable when the teacher is female. Whereas we generally know that male teachers have strictness. Perhaps.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vansi. We'll have 30 seconds for DTM Hariharan to note down his points.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, DTM Hariharan. Now, to rebut the argument presented by team for the motion, I would like to welcome speaker against the team, Toastmaster Shuaib.
The natural state of motherhood is unselfishness. It's said by Jessica Lange. If I know what love is, it's because of you, my darling. Mother, wife is a woman. They are born with empathy, sympathy, high emotional quotient. Blessed with these virtues, women are certainly more equipped as against their male counterparts to understand a child's ability to learn quickly. My dear friends, fellow Toastmasters, debaters, and my worthy opponents, I strongly believe that women are the better teachers in the world. My worthy opponent was telling that violence can stop by male teacher. My dear friend, this is 21st century. I read a news yesterday in Lucknow. A teacher, a male teacher, hanged the class 2 child, hanged upside down from the school building. He lost his job again, by the way. He's a man. A woman cannot do that. A teacher, he is to teach. He has to lead the society. A male cannot lead this way. A woman is a better teacher. And he's saying that typical male voice is very high. My dear friends, as I said, this is 21st century. In my language, if you say that da, then he will say poda. If you say come, go, that is the way the children react. If you react in that way. So you cannot be like that. You have to teach the people with love. That is the only way you can say that. He's saying that primary level only teachers, women can teach. Who said it? There are many teachers. In Indian finance minister, Nirmala Sitharaman was the teacher. He's the teacher. Mother Teresa. There are many teachers. You can see that. So only primary level, not only primary level, they can teach in the college level, degree level, whatever the level you have. So I strongly that. And he's saying that a role model only can be a role model, male can be. Who said it? There are many role model you can see. I have my Srividya teacher, my male teacher, they are the role models. Still, they are the role models. So only male cannot. Woman can be a role model. So I request to the podium audience.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shuaib. DTM Hariharan, 30 seconds for you.
Yeah, just give me a second. Done. Please go ahead.
Thank you, DTM Hariharan. Now, to rebut the arguments presented by team against, I would like to welcome speaker 2 from the team for the motion, Toastmaster Haris.
Hi. Can I proceed?
Sure.
Okay. In fact, I just had a good laugh after listening to this gentleman. Area of teaching is not restricted into classroom and schools, brother. Toastmaster Jazim, I would like to rebut that. It is not restricted into school, the conventional type of schooling. There are many areas. Do you think that you can climb on the tree by the female teacher? You don't find anyone like who's teaching for climbing on the tree. And another point he was saying, comfort for children, female teachers. He's still talking about the primary students. There are areas like college, upper level, higher level, and undergraduate and postgraduate. There are many areas. But whereas second point he was saying, unfortunately, there are few female teachers in the higher levels. That means they are accepting that higher level female teachers cannot perform. Unfortunately, that is what the record, that is what the statistics proves. I got that answer from his fifth point. Then second one, he was talking about better understanding of students. That means males are not understanding the students. Still, you are restricting your thinking into the conventional type of schooling. There are many areas apart from the schooling, there are teachings taking place. Students learning taking place, many areas. Whereas Sylvester Stallone once was the teacher of gym. And Graham Bell was one time he was a teacher. And there are many areas. Male teachers are performed well. And kindness and strictness. Oh, the rhyme, I was just finding out the rhyme of, among that words, but he failed over there also. In terms of the result, kindness, my father was a teacher, and even I have inspired the same kindness from him. See, being a kind man of a strong teacher, that means a strong teacher can have kind children. That means kindness is not restricted to female teachers. So with these points, I would like to rebut very strongly and the points of Toastmaster Ramzi Shahabuddin. Over to moderator. Thank you.
Toastmaster Haris. 30 seconds for DTM Hariharan.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, DTM Hariharan. Now, please welcome speaker 3 from the team again for concluding their argument. Toastmaster Shafiqul Rahman.
Hello, Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Good evening. Am I audible? There is no doubt and there is no ambiguity. Our opening speaker clearly stated, women are better teachers. He pointed out 4 reasons why women are better teachers. First one is, women teachers have a better understanding of children. Second one is, women teachers making a strong route for children to become better in higher grades. Third point, women teachers are important for gender equality. And fourth point, women teachers are calm and cool by nature. They can deal with the students with patience. all efforts of our opponent speaker went in vain because of the befitting response from our rebuttal speaker. He pointed out that woman is a synonym for love. So woman is the right person to teach. How one can teach without the love? He exampled the recent story happened in Lucknow. So we stand against the motion. We strongly believe that women are always better in teaching. Over to moderator.
Thank you to Master Shafiq. 30 seconds silence.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, TTM Hariharan. Now, let's welcome Speaker 3 from the team for the motion to conclude the debate, Toastmaster Unnikrishnan.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and respected contestants. I strongly support the motion that is male teachers are the best teachers in the world. Here, I need to re-emphasize my opening speaker's points that male teachers are good at teaching profession over to female teachers. Why? Because they are role models of students. They can moderate character traits better than female teachers. Male teachers can encourage students to mold gender equitable, as well as male teachers can inculcate non-violent in their character traits. Male teachers have better capacity to inspire as compared to female teachers. As compared to previous decades, females has been entering all the males dominant professions, but still way back. As stated by my opening speaker, as per the statistics report, only 8% of CEOs are from the top Fortune America's 500 companies. That means the females are still in the way to their developing stage, and they are always in a better position to teach the students in the primary level. And overall, at this point, it's clear that male teachers are so good at teaching profession. I urge this audience also, let's encourage more men to teaching profession for the better future of our younger generation. Thank you so much, and over to moderator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Unnikrishnan. Now a few moments for DTM Hariharan to conclude, to write down his notes and all.
I'm ready.
Thank you very much, DTM Hariharan. Now let's give them a big round of applause. Toastmaster Jasim, the participation certificates are ready with you?
Yes, it is ready. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a moment. I will display now.
So it's a time to distribute the participation certificates.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
We can see. Can we go to the next page?
Yes, please.
So Toastmaster Nishad, for the team, for the motion, opening speaker. Please give him a big round of applause. Toastmaster Ramzi Shahabuddin for Team ECC. Toastmaster Shuaib Khandod for Team ECC. Toastmaster Haris Sheikh for Team GOC. Toastmaster Shafiq Rahman for Team ECC. Toastmaster Unnikrishan for Team GOC.
All right.
Thank you once again.
Toastmaster Salahuddin.
Thank you.
And the evaluation will come up now. So, okay.
Thank you. This is for DTM Hariharan.
Yeah, I'll give it at the end. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So now let's hear from DTM Hariharan how we had performed. DTM Hariharan, the stage is yours.
Okay. So thank you very much for that. So to begin with, remember so I'll go at the debate moderator first. Debate moderator putting up a statement like this: who are better teachers, men or women? Now let's assume you gave this and the team speaking for came up and said men are men are better teachers, and the team speaking against came and said men are better teachers and not women. So remember, your topic should always be a statement. It cannot be a question. You're not in a table topic session. This would have been a perfect table topic speech. But it has to be. So ideally it would have been men are better teachers than women. So you have to speak about men. So the team speaking for will speak that men are better, and the team speaking against will speak women are better, or men are better teachers. That's it. Or women are better teachers. So remember, it has to be an affirmative statement and not a question.
Hariharan, can I interfere?
Please.
Yeah. Before the meeting start, they have given that for the team,
yeah,
men are the better teacher, and for us against the team, women are the better teacher.
Okay. So what happens is, please try and understand. For the judges to understand, the statement has to be what has gone to the teams. So I'll give you an example. It happened to me in one of the debates. The title of the speech was, or the title of the debate was, social media influencers should be regulated by the law. Now, when I looked at this title, I knew very clearly that in this title, there were two moving parts. One, social media influencers should be regulated. Should they be regulated or not? That's one. And if they are regulated, should they be regulated by the law or by something else? So what happened was, when we went into the competition and said they should not be regulated by the law, but they should actually have legislations, policies by the government, judges thought we were talking off our hat, and that is the right answer. Because nowhere can you say that you cannot regulate social media. So what happens is, if you give a different topic and somebody is construing something else, the judges are going to mark you down because possibly you're not speaking in lines with the topic. This is very important for the moderator. So if you are moderating a debate, remember it should not be a question, please. That's the only point of contention I have. And because of this, we lost. And we didn't lose because we put up a bad show. We lost because the judges couldn't understand the topic. The judges said, oh, we thought that social media influencers should be regulated. We never knew that they should not be regulated by the law. Excuse me. You see, by giving 2 parts to a speech or to a title, what will happen? This is the same thing that will happen here as well. So remember, this should not be there. So don't have ambiguous statements. Number one. Now, when we look at the debate, Toastmaster Nishad, you started off with a quote. Beautifully said. I like the quote. Now, what are the things that you missed out on? So I'll spend time on what you could do better. First things first is, you have to define the motion. So when you define the motion, state it and give us the keywords. What do you mean, or who is a teacher? Pick up a dictionary, say Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines a teacher as so-and-so. Therefore, we believe that women are better teachers or men are better teachers. That's the first thing. Second, women are good at primary school. The moment you say women are good at primary school, you have actually lost the debate. You handed it over to the opposition. So you cannot be agreeing. Nowhere are women better. If you are standing for men, you stand only for men. On that day, women are not good teachers at all, at least for those 30 minutes. Simple. Number 3, when you are closing, I wanted you to connect to the quote. You had that quote there. You should have summarized the speech by explaining the quote and connecting it to your speech. Remember, you had a lot of time. You finished even before we had the amber light coming. Every second in a debate counts because every word you say makes an impact on them. So use your time effectively. And remember, you have to give data and statistics. How did you know that men are better teachers in higher levels of school? Was there a study conducted? If there was a study conducted, when and who? So this is one of the key aspects for an opening debate speaker. When it came to Toastmaster Ramji, you started off with a nice opinion of yours, but I thought you should have supported that opinion with something that was data or statistics. Then the moment you support it with data or statistics, it becomes universal. Else, it's only your own perception, and perceptions doesn't stand anywhere in a debate. Number 2, you missed to define the keywords again. Because your opposition didn't do it, you would have done it and got those points. You would have actually had points on structure and organization. You said Center for Global Development had a study conducted, but when? When was it conducted? If it was the 1900s, you're standing in 2021, it's a 100-year-old information. It's out of the window because generations change every 20 years. Connect to the opening. I saw that both the opening speakers are not connecting to the opening. So if you start with a quote, you start with the statistics, you connect to that statistics or connect to that quote. And always use your time better. You are still in the amber. You could have gone another about 20 seconds extra and gone into the red. So how do I do it? If I'm the opening speaker, I will always have about 370 words in about 3 minutes. So I speak about 120 words if I speak fast. So that's 360 words. And 10 seconds, I would speak another about 10-15 words. So what 360, 370 words is a good speed for me. What is your speed? Assess that and draft your speech on those lines. But draft it. Do not come unprepared as an opening speaker. If you come unprepared as an opening speaker, the opposition rebuttal will murder you. They will cut you up into pieces. So be prepared, have a nice, strong speech. Now let's come into the rebuttal speaker. Toastmaster Shoaib, I like the quote that you started with. Beautifully done. You recently read in the newspaper about that teacher dangling the second standard child from the topmost floor of the school. On which news channel did you read it? It was there in the newspapers. I wanted you to quote that. That would have been super statistics that happened today. You had that Vada Poda thing coming. I wanted to know what was the connect to that Vada Poda because I couldn't put it in context. If you're talking about today's children, I wanted you to bring it to context, saying today's children listen to men more or listen to women more, and that's why they become better teachers. So, and how did you connect it to the opposition? So you should ideally say, our worthy opponent said this, and to that I am saying this. They said this, and to that we are saying this. The moment you quote what they said and then you rebut it, it becomes easier for all of us to understand what are the points you're rebutting on. If you don't say that, then it will look like you are also giving a stand-up common speech. Third, you gave a nice personal example. Now I wanted that personal example should have been more broad. You should have said a study recently conducted by so-and-so saw that this personal example of yours was more broad. And you brought Mother Teresa in. I thought Mother Teresa is not a great teacher. She's a great teacher for humanity, but she was not a teacher in school. So what happened was, this is exactly what I said. If your opening speaker would have defined who a teacher is, you wouldn't have brought in Mother Teresa if it was said teachers are in school, because Mother Teresa never taught in school. You see you see the confusion in the debate. So this is where, as a judge, they'll mark you down on coordination, because you both are traveling towards the same destination, but are traveling on 3 different lines. And those 3 lines are parallelly running to each other. Let's go into Toastmaster Harris. Toastmaster Harris, well started, you said. In fact, I thought you should have started more strongly, but you had nice sarcasm to start with. It's very rare that you can find sarcasm, but you have it. Use it to your strength. You actually had this point 1, point 2, point 3. These are good ways of rebutting, and actually judges like it. This is when you say point 1, you spoke this, I'm going to be saying this. Point 2, you said this, I'm going to be saying this. So this is good way of rebutting. You stated the motion, but only thing I want you to remember is, do not name the speaker. Because when you name a speaker in the opposition, that can go into personal attack. You have to only say, my worthy opponents. You cannot name the speaker. It happened to me in the year 2016. I remember we were pulled down from the stage in spite of we winning the debate, because we named a speaker. And that day the chief judge was DTM Balaji. Out of the 9 judges, 2 judges voted for us, 7 voted against us. We lost because we had named the opposition. So please don't name anybody from the opposite team. Also, I would request you to remember this. Your personal story is not a relevance to the subject. Do not bring personal stories. Sylvester Stallone, Alfred Graham Bell were, in fact, they were teachers. Who said it? How did you know that? Did you read in their autobiography, or did you read it as a reference from somewhere? I want you to quote that. Else I will not know whether Sylvester Stallone was a teacher or not. All I know was Sylvester Stallone was always aspired to become an actor. I don't know if he was a teacher, but how do I get to know that? Where did you read it? That reference I need to have. When I come to Toastmaster Shafiq, nicely summarized Toastmaster Shafiq. The only areas that I thought you missed out was, you missed to state the motion and the stand of your team. What is the reason you are speaking? Are you speaking for the motion or against the motion? Summarize the points in view of what is being spoken. So supposing your opening speaker said, let us say the opening speaker said Mother Teresa is a good teacher. We believe that great teachers are women. And the best example was quoted by our opening speaker, Mother Teresa. So when you say this, you are actually giving it a rounded look. You're not leaving it sharp. Yeah. Also remember, you had beautifully summarized the points of the opening speaker and the rebuttal speaker. You did not use your time. You were gone within the green. Why? You had so many points to speak about. So you need to listen more carefully and jot down the points. What you can also do is, once the rebuttal speaker has possibly finished his or her speech, ask the rebuttal speaker to take a photograph of their page and send it to you on WhatsApp. Then you know what the rebuttal speaker has spoken about. Toastmaster Unni Krishnan, again, you missed the stand. Both the summary speakers missed to state what the motion is and what is your stand. Even if you state the motion, what's your stand? Are you for the motion, against the motion? I don't know. You had a point on CEOs who are women. Now, I don't know whether that was spoken by the opening speaker. And if that was spoken, then how is it making relevance to teachers? You missed points. In fact, you missed to connect the opening to the closing. And I thought you need to close a little stronger to both the summary speakers. I need you to ask for that vote. We vehemently urge this House to accept or reject this motion and vote in our favor, because we believe as a team that men are better teachers than women. We rest our case. This is how you ideally close. You may want to copy this sentence. You can copy the sentence and blurt it out in your contest, nothing wrong. Use this, that this should be your ending statements. And this is what is going to push your audience to vote for you. Remember, you're giving a persuasive speech. You're persuading the audience to vote for you. If you don't ask for it, you will not get it. All in all, I love the debate. I know I was extremely critical. You'll have to pardon me for it. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you very much. And over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, DTM Hariharan, for your valuable suggestions. Now, this concludes the debate mock digit session.